Okay, we're back in the shop, and baby, it is hot in Texas. I know they say everything's bigger and badder in Texas. Well, it's this month and August, it's more badder than bigger, and it is 100 degrees in the shop. So excuse the fan, and I'm not kidding, it's hot. But I've been wanting to do this video for a long time, probably about a year, well, way more than that. Probably 2 years now. And you've seen, we're going to talk about walls, shower walls or artistic walls, faux walls and whatnot. And I'm going to do it 2 videos. The first video is going to be pretty short, and it's just going to be a comparison of building a shower wall from what you've seen foam and epoxy versus the way I choose to do it, and the versatility versus, well, one versus the other. And this is simplicity and ease of use as opposed to cost. The next video, it'll be cost, and it is night and day less expensive to do it the way I'm going to show you right now. All right, so some of you have seen, yes, you can, and I've done this before. I've done it on five or maybe 6 different shower walls. Foam board, you can use foam board, but in order to do the foam board, you have to buy 2 times, maybe 3 times more epoxy. Well, definitely 2 times more epoxy than with the other method I'll show you. And you got to buy all this other stuff. You got to buy not only the foam board, but you got to buy the fiber mesh. Then you got to buy some thickening agent to go in the epoxy. And then once the thickening agent is done, you can either tint it or not. If you tint it one way, what if you want to do a different color? You got to buy a color, and then you got to buy the $3 to $4 a piece of the rollers. Got that. The alcohol. If you're going to probably if you're going to seam something together, you're going to use Bondo, and all that stuff adds up. It starts ching, ka-ching, 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 because they want you to buy more epoxy, right? Okay. Well, when you use the foam, it's great. It's fantastic. It's lightweight, semi-durable, and then when you put the epoxy over it, it's gorgeous. I've got lots of experiments with that. But the thing is, if we do the first part time-wise, we're going to put the foam board down. We're going to lay this down over it. We're going to cut it, right? We're going to cut it and stick it. And then we're going to pour epoxy over it. And we're going to have to wait no less than 4 to 5 hours before we can, and that's the fastest way. If you'd use a bare paint and primer in one to go over it for whatever color, you're going to wait till the next day. So now you're waiting for forever. To me, it seems like forever. And by the way, there are some people cause it, do you take the plastic off? Yeah, you take the plastic off, okay? Otherwise, it's not going to stick. So with the other method, what I just use a fiberglass, 1/8 inch fiberglass panel. You can get FRP, you can get fiberglass. If you want it, you can get it from Cal-Lite, K-A-L-L-I-T-E. They have variable thicknesses, but one thing that I'm going to show you in a few minutes that makes this far and away faster, so you're going to see that, faster and superior, is this. If you get it, now this is dirty, it's a little dirty, but if you get it, you can just wipe it off with a towel. Where's the towel? There it is. It's the towel. Okay. Just wipe it off with a towel, and we say, "Oh crap, Kevin, it's you can't see it, but it's still got some stuff on it." Okay, fine, I don't care. Well, here's another piece. Here's another piece that is extremely dirty. You can see that. This is just scraps I had laying around. You can see I've been walking on them. I walk on them, they're laying down. We run the forklift over them all the time. You can't do that with the MDF, much less the foam board. That's not going to work. But let's take the dirtiest one for a second, and we'll give you another shot. That's some dirt, baby. And we'll just, in about 15 seconds, Now, purposely I didn't do it all the way so you can see the difference. But look at the difference. You can see it. It's ready to go. This is pure white. So if you're doing a white, we get it. Let's just go with it. You're doing white. You're simply going to sand it, wipe it off, maybe throw some alcohol on it, wipe it off, and you're ready to pour in 15 seconds per square foot. So for a 32 square foot 4x8 sheet, 5 minutes, you're pouring. You're not waiting 4 hours. You've already opened up the process. You're sanding it just like you would on your other MDF if you were going to go directly over the bonding primer or the Bear paint and primer in one, or the the epoxy quick coat paint. You're gonna have to wait for that, but you are gonna lightly sand that anyway. Same thing here. Just go right over. And then you say, well, Kevin, say it again, Kevin, what about the edges? What about the edges? Well, they're always the edges. Do you understand? When you do the foam board, if you want to have a rounded edge, you're gonna have to add some wood, a little strip of wood, and round it over and do it like you normally would. But okay, that's cool. That's easy, but that's not as easy. The bane of the existence of most epoxy pours are the edges. They are the hardest to make right. The reason the rock edge, the rock edge is magical. It just makes it easier to hide stuff, is really what it does. It's not that it's a bad, I like it. I like it a lot in a cabin, or in a cabin in a woods. That'd be sort of cool. You're fishing bungalow, whatever. But it's not going to go in a high-end, ultra-modern home. It just won't work. And so the design scheme is also important. With the panel, you can do a panel, and then you say, well, it's flexible. You're right. It is flexible, and that's a good thing. So let's say you're going through. You got a big hallway, and at the end of the hallway, it's a 90-degree turn into the master bedroom, and then another 90-degree turn through an interior door that's only 6'6" by 2.5 feet wide. How are you going to get an 8-foot tall or a 10-foot tall ceiling panel that's 8 feet or 7 feet wide for a shower through the interior doors? How are you going to do that? You can't. You're going to have to cut it, and you're going to have a seam. So what's the point? If the whole point was trying to get something seamless, one full slab look, why would you cut it? Because you have no choice. Not anymore. You can go ahead and prep the entire wall. And I've got some videos and some pictures of, I took an 8-foot panel by 8 feet tall and got it through a 6'6" by 24-inch door. Didn't cut it at all. We just bent it. It just bends. And before you haters get out there and go, oh well you can't. It's gonna show the curvature of the wall. Well, I'll tell you what. If it shows the curvature of the wall you put it on, not the one I put it on, but if it shows the curvature of the wall you put it on, you probably don't need to follow these instructions. You probably need to hire somebody. But just this is a little bit more advanced for that. I've even put it over tile, and I had somebody one time, oh, it's going to ghost through the tile grout. No, don't talk about something you've never done and don't understand. Try it first, and then we'll put your video alongside my video, and we'll see which one works. How about that? So I love trolls. I love to bait trolls, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot anyway, but I am not like some of the other YouTube people or Instagram people where they're so nice. They don't want to offend anybody. If you're easily offended, this is probably not the channel for you. But I make fun of myself just as much as I make fun of anybody else. And some of the dumb questions that I've asked myself and then go, duh, Kevin, that was not a really bright question. So I'm an equal opportunity offender. That being said, the ease of prep, the speed, I'm already done pouring, and I'm basically working on my edges, or if there are any edges, before they even get a chance to even start the color coat on this. Number two is the amount of epoxy. You don't need as much epoxy for this. And when you do address your edges, you can go to a a multitude of different ways to have edges on your shower walls. You can do a separate piece and do a trim piece. You can go to, if you're doing Carrara marble, which 90 million people do Carrara marble. Don't call me for Carrara marble. I don't do Carrara marble anymore. It's not challenging enough anymore. But you can go get pencil molding that's actual Carrara marble and put it along the side, and it sells the illusion, that's exactly what this is. It's an illusion of a slab of granite or marble, and it sells it perfectly. It's great. It works up, and it's a whole lot easier to put up, and the edges are always perfect, which eliminates the biggest problem with epoxy, anything, countertops, panels, showers, edges. It's always the edges. So with that, that's the ease of application. I'm sure there's lots of things I am going to hear about, or I want to hear about. I want to hear what your questions are. Oh, what do you use? Or somebody, I did this one day, and I'm going to take you outside. We're going to cut to this in a second. Somebody said, well, you're putting it over something. I'm not sure that may delaminate. And I go, okay, well, why do you think it's going to delaminate? Well, you call me in 6 months. I go, why do I need to call you in 6 months? It's epoxy that's going over fiberglass. I think that the first boat hull was epoxy and fiberglass that was done. It's probably still floating in the water today, and that was over 60 years ago. So it's tried and true. So I really don't want to, but if you want to know what it looks like, I'll even do one better. I did a polyaspartic. Oh, there it goes. Polyaspartic over this fiberglass about a year and a half ago, maybe two, yeah, but a year and a half or so ago. And I had some scraps, and I just put them outside on a pallet. We're going to throw them away, just never have done it. And I'll show you what that looks like. It's pretty cool. We'll get up and go up. You get to see the shop, sort of, a lot of it. Barney purple fiberglass. Oh, that's a cool video too. Anyway, I'm going to show you this. This is my scrap pile outside. So this is some of the extra pieces. There's just whatever. So this has been in the rain. You can see the rain. Now that is, everybody's seen that before. That's MDF when it gets wet and epoxy. Okay, cool. Well, this is an example. That's an example of polyaspartic that I put on a fiberglass sheet about a year and a half ago, and it's been outside the whole time. Yes, you see me walking on it, but let's take this right here. Ow, that's hot. Dang, it's hot. It's still white. So the biggest thing with people say that you want to know, is it going to turn yellow? Is it going to turn yellow? Yeah, epoxy probably will at some point, especially white, and I don't care how much UV protection you got in it. It's going to turn yellow at some point down the road. Maybe 2 years, maybe a year, maybe 5. I don't know. But the polyaspartic, that's been out in the August heat 2 summers now, at least 2 summers. And I've also put some samples in Monaco, in Fort Lauderdale, for the yachting industry. Not a single one of them has turned yellow, and none of them have delaminated. So how about that? So we're going to go back in here. Another thing I wanted to show, if I could. Now let's see if we get this up. Ta-da! Okay, we got this going still. Something else came up with for countertops, and now yes, this has edges. We've done the edges, but it also is the flexible panel. This is not a 1/2 inch MDF or a 3/4 MDF. It's just not. One hand, pick it up, easy. You've got the edges there, but you see it's real thin. Say your countertop is right there. You've got your countertop, and say your countertop's not level, whatever. Then just go ahead and level it in any way you want. It doesn't have to look good. It just has to be effective, right? Then we can pop this down, sling it in, trim it off. We make it 1/2 inch bigger on the back sacrificial sides, the backsplash side, the wall side. 1/2 inch, do your template, cut it with a utility saw, and you're on. Then just caulk it up. You can glue the whole thing down and you're done. You don't have to do a pour in place ever again. Ever. It's sort of cool. Thought you guys might like seeing that. Oh, one more thing. And if you wanted to know, might as well. I don't have Benny here anymore. I miss my videographer. He was nice. It was nice to have. But if you want to see one that's been done, a full sheet. You've probably seen those, all those the ones from China where they shake them and they throw them down to put big porcelain slabs. Well, okay, I can do that too. Yeah, we can do that. Or we can stand it up. Wah, 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 wah. And it's not going to break. And I promise you, I can hit that with a hammer and it's not going to break. I love the one where they threw the medicine ball down on the porcelain slab that was already flat on the ground and it didn't break. I thought that was pretty silly. But you probably saw those too. Anyway. The next video I'll do a cost analysis per square foot. What does it cost to do a foam board with the mesh, with the thickener, with the quick drying epoxy, then the regular epoxy, and on, and all of those things add up. It comes out to about somewhere a little north of $12 a square foot, whereas this is 38, maybe 30 to $32 to $38 a sheet, which is about, I don't know, a little over buck a square foot, 10, something like that. $1.50 square feet plus the cost of the epoxy, which is usually $1.50 a square foot, and you're done. $3 to $5 a square foot versus 8 to 12, depending on what you do. Hope you enjoyed that video. I know it's a little long, but it was fun.